2 more matches left to go, and these two are going to be keeping your eyes peeled here, as our next series is going to be the 2 LATAM powerhouses going head-to-head against each other. And Flea, for these last 2 series, we can't do it alone, can we? We have to get Mr. DJ Wheat on board, as we're going to see how he's getting on and see how things are going. Mate, it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. Yes, it has. And I'm glad to see that everyone saved, these 2 great matches for the end. We've got some amazing matches. Yes, I was traveling, and then I had a wedding, and then I got a little sick. But I was there. I was watching most of the time, sometimes even shit posting in chat. But thanks for holding it down, guys. There were some great matches that I got to watch. But, of course, that's previous weeks. You can go to the tournament page to get those results. It's all about these 2 matches right here, and I think we got some good ones.
We certainly do indeed. We were very upset without you being here, but now we're super happy now that you're back. And yeah, what a way to come back to as well. We've got Maxter versus nosfa coming up next, and it's going to be a really close feat between the 2. We know that Maxter, we probably expect him to perform a lot better than he has done currently, but nosfa's been on a right tear at the moment so far.
He absolutely has been, right? If we take a look at their placements, we see that Maxter is currently in the 10th place overall, whereas nosfa is in 7th. nosfa 5 wins, 2 losses. Maxter 3 wins, 4 losses. But we're first going to take a look at Maxter. You can see he started off strong, taking down Hron, also winning against the likes of Toxic, as well as Chain, but also suffering a few losses here and there. 3-0 versus Wenger, 1-2 versus Sirius, and then most recently Kilson and Dramis.
Yeah, there's some rough matchups there, but I got to be honest. I think Maxter, clearly a little bit of struggle. I mean, there's some great, losing 0-3 to Wenger. That happens. Same thing with Kilson. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more out of Maxter, but we still have quite a few weeks left to go. I think this represents a pretty critical match for him to potentially, go down to 3 wins, 5 losses, or pop back up to 50-50 batting average. This is one of those matches where I think it's pretty critical for Maxter to kind of, start his run to the finals. And then, of course, we can talk a little bit about his opponent, because I think he's been playing fairly well this season, although he's at only number 9, just 2 losses, but 5 wins. So, as critical, well, maybe not so much. He could probably still drop a match, but would be a pretty big thing for nosfa to be sitting 6-2 in the league overall.
Yeah, I think all of us have been extremely impressed with how nosfa's been playing so far, as you talked about his win record as well, and how he's been competing against a lot of his top players. We weren't really too sure what kind of nosfa we were going to get this season, but he's answered it for us, and the way he's been performing is, again, nothing short of spectacular overall. Currently in one of those top positions so far. But let's have a look at his win rate so far in terms of the opponents he's been playing against. And there's some pretty big wins from what we can see. The fact that he defeated Avik 3-0 is just a testament in itself. 2-1 against Zen and Dramis. And even having a very close series against Kilson tells the tale, pretty much.
Absolutely. Kilson, the reigning champ, undefeated so far during the season, and nosfa manages to take away a map from him. That is quite telling. And then just last week, he managed to beat Saigib, who we've seen come out swinging and in very good shape earlier today. So nosfa, he's looking pretty good. Now also, talking briefly about the match history between these two, because these are former teammates, right? They have played each other a lot. Out of the 5 matches they've played, nosfa has won 4, but Maxter has won the most recent one. So does that mean that nosfa is going to continue overall being the victor? Or was Maxter winning the previous one a sign of better things to come from Argentina?
Flea, that was at the last year's finals, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that was a win when it counted, but that's really interesting record, because even if you look at the opponents that nosfa had versus Maxter, there were some similarities, but nosfa definitely was king of the hill on some of those where Maxter couldn't quite pull it out. So I feel definitely I sort of favor nosfa in this one. Still put the emphasis on the fact that I think Maxter really needs a win here. At least needs to be pulling out a map and showing us some close games.
Another big talking point as well is that obviously both of them won't be playing on the SA server, of course, with Maxter now based in Spain. So what it does mean is nosfa has been used to the high or the heavy pings consistently the whole time. As Max has actually readjusted into Europe, he's used to the low pings and obviously some of the pings on the NA East side as well. So again, he needs to get used to those high ping games once again. When nosfa, he hasn't had to worry about that. He's been continuing to play on these pings the whole time anyway, assuming that both of them will be playing on the NA servers. But let's have a look at the picks and bans. It'll probably help tell the tale just a little bit further to see how things will dictate in terms of the pace here, and we can see already Blood Covenant and Deep Embrace have been banned outright straight away. It will be the usual so to speak, not on the same map, but it will be Ranger versus Strog and Awoken / versus the Anarchy going into Molten Falls. That's going to be a very spicy matchup in itself. And finally, to finish things off, the BJ versus the Galena. We've seen a lot of Galena and Ruins so far this week, but I'll start with you, Flea. How do you feel how this matchup's going to go, seeing those picks?
I mean, map 1 couldn't be more standard, right? Awoken, Ranger versus Strog. We've seen it time and time again. Map 2, Molten Falls, Slash versus Anarchy. We've seen it today even, and then Anarchy managed to secure a pretty convincing win, but that was on Ruins. This is Molten Falls, where Slash is, in the eyes of many, the single best champion to play. And then finally, Ruins of Sarnath, we're going to see the BJ versus the Galena. So the burst damage versus the overstack and the hidden totems. So generally speaking, I feel like this is a very, very balanced matchup. There's no clear favorite, at least in my eyes.
You know, it's arguable whether or not Slash is the most. This is coming from someone who can't crouch slide to like save my frickin' life. Like, I don't know, but no, I think you're absolutely right about games 1 and 2, and I'd love to see this come down to a game 3 closer. Right, we've had in the past few weeks some real nail biters going into these featured matches. Would love to see that tradition kind of continue a little bit. I still, with the picks and bans, I still think nosfa has an upper hand here.
Yeah, it's really tough to call, isn't it, considering about the whole ping situation I told you about before, where now Maxter is the person in the EU and was used to these low pings, and nosfa's continued to play with over 100 ping, depending on his opponent and who he's playing against. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for Maxter this time round. And you've got to remember, in previous seasons, but nosfa always used to have Maxter's number every single time, apart from last season where he was actually finally able to take him down in convincing fashion. But before I go and before I head off, just thought in terms of prediction, what are you guys thinking in terms of these two battling it out?
Wait, I'll let you go first. You can do the honors.
Wow. This is what we call passing the buck here in the United States. And that's fine. I've already said it a couple times. I think nosfa takes this series, but because I want to see something closer and, I think Maxter needs this one, I'm going to make it 2-1 for nosfa.
Okay. I'm going to say 2-1 Maxter. Even though nosfa has had the better run so far, I'm on the Argentina train today, so let's see what Maxter can do. Now, Lethal, you don't get to leave before pass your own vote.
He's like, okay, bye.
I was going to pack my bags and say, see you guys later, I'm on my bike. But I'll say Maxter 2-1, just considering the situation. It's still quite hard to tell. It's really, I really think it could go either way. The champion picks, the maps, it's just way too balanced to really give anyone a kind of a decisive matchup. But anyway, I'm going to go and try and put myself into a food coma whilst I let you guys enjoy this next series. So have fun.
All right. Enjoy. Flea, what's up, man? It's been a while.
I've missed you. Yeah, it really has been far too long, especially because I was out for a week as well. So I think we've had to miss each other longer than most. I'm very happy to have you back on the show with me.
I'm happy to be here too. Missed you too. So good to be back in some Quake. I mean, the storylines this season have just been phenomenal. We've got newcomers. We've got people improving. We've had others returning. We've had some people not performing the way, and I specifically didn't put names in any of that. You kind of know some of these storylines, but I think this is a good one, as you called out, right? Kind of this 5-4, a little bit of rivalry, considering the former teammate situation. And I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised that both of you had a pick for Maxter, but he's a player that at the end of last year was showing us he was absolutely capable. I just don't know that we've seen that, fifth gear Maxter quite yet this season. If this is the week, awesome. I'm here. I'm here for it.
I feel like we've seen him come close several times this season, and I'm hoping for his sake and for the many Maxter fans that today will be the day that he breaks on through. So let's see whether it will be nosfa or Maxter. Nosfa representing Brazil, Maxter, on the other hand, Argentina.
I hate to tell everyone this is like one of those, like everyone's ready and everyone's cheering and the stadium's going nuts, but there's going to be a lobby restart. So stand by just a few seconds. I think we're going to be hopping right back into this one.
I think so too.
But we get to go back. That was a test. You all passed with flying colors. I saw people getting excited. Hype. Well, maybe not so much, but. Yeah, that does mean that all of your channel points are void, however. So, sorry, you're going to have to re-weight. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that.
I also like that the predictions are pretty close, ultimately. 290,000 points versus 255. That makes for a nice, close, exciting matchup, I feel like.
Yeah, it does. It took a while for nosfa to catch up, actually. Originally, maybe there was just some big spender out there that was like, yep, all in on Maxter, boom, there it goes. But Maxter still in the prediction lead at this point. So we'll have to see, but we're at least back in a lobby and getting ready. And then, of course, to sort of tease the palette just a little bit, our second and featured match and final match of the day is going to be Rafa versus Kilson, number 1 versus number 3. We won't get ahead of ourselves, but I've been seeing the chat all day, Flea. They're just like, is it Rafa versus Kilson yet? Is it time yet? I mean, just like, are we there yet in the backseat? And as Quake chat parents, we need to just say, we'll let you know when we're getting close. And we are getting close, so.
I think chat's just being a little contrarian, It's like you start and you say, okay, I put my money on nosfa. So everyone's all of a sudden voting for Maxter. And then Lethal and I are like, yeah, no, we're in Maxter's train. And then they're like, whoa, okay, everyone back on nosfa. So maybe chat really doesn't trust us anymore.
Maybe not. Chat should know that I just roll a dice here on my desk and then whatever comes up. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. We'll see at the end. But it's remained even, and we're out of the lobby and hopping back into the game. Once again, Maxter sitting at 3-4 this particular season, and nosfa with a 5-2 record. And this is a big opportunity for both players, for nosfa to really kind of pull ahead and put himself a little bit higher, potentially like the top 6-7 spot, getting ready for more games. Maxter kind of needs this one to stay above the fold on the rankings.
And it looks like both players have entered the lobby and are readying up as we speak. So here we go. First map of the series. We got that South American pride, Brazil versus Argentina. And we're kicking this one off on the perspective of Maxter, who gets the rail side spawn.
All right.
Oh, that's a lot of peeker damage.
Oh, no. Oh, even Maxter with a side eye on that one. That's a big bummer, especially if that first nice rail he hit, Flea.
Did Maxter just get pushed back and kind of floated by the peeker, or did I see that wrong? Never seen that before. Peeker vertically, straight up from down below. Now it's a fight. Oh, what is happening?
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
This nosfa is literally just typing ha 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 in chat after that one. This is the craziest opening to a game I've seen in a long time. 3 frags in 50 seconds, and every single one of them has been this baffling exchange.
Yeah, and to think that it started with that really beautiful peak rail coming out from Maxter, but then, you know, it was great peaker usage there by nosfa. He hit him, yet there was some kind of a strange interaction there, and peaker definitely got the best of that one. But then, you know, the orb and then the rail and that second frag looked real nice, but with no additional follow-up weapon, that rail was not the best weapon in that situation. So yeah, suddenly Maxter immediately finding himself down by 3. And you and I both know, Flea, right? There's a little bit of momentum that's important to every single Quake matchup, and that is just an incredible swing over in nosfa's favor. Maxter has now at least stopped the, you know, the train that was nosfa, and is sitting with a nice stack. So there's an opportunity here. He orbs in to the mega room and really doesn't get much of anything out there. In fact, LG's really all he got. A couple rockets out, but he still can't get it done. A trade there at the end, I guess that's the best you could ask for.
I am inclined to agree. Best possible outcome that was. Now Maxter taking a bad rail. And another one. Ouch. Yeah, look at Maxter's reaction. He knows that there's nothing you can do about that. Big smile on his face, but that smile is hiding a lot of pain, Weeds. Now, 3 points down already. nosfa's use of the peaker has been excellent,
dude.
So far.
Excellent, 100%. It's just been on point every single time. It's usually been when Maxter is on some sort of a ledge and he can move down below, and it would you know, if he protects himself that way, because if he doesn't deal with the peaker's doing damage, but he's not going to have to worry about a rocket or something peeked over the side. So nosfa picking up another one, and we went from 3-0 to then the trade, and now 1-5, and we're just hitting that 3-minute mark. So pretty impressive here what nosfa's been able to put up, but I also have to feel there's a little bit of Quake luck on his side for sure here in game number 1.
It does seem that way, yeah. nosfa, Maxter exchanging some rails. nosfa now firmly in control. He can take this fight, no problem. He'll allow himself to take some damage knowing that there's a heavy ride behind him, but Maxter does not have that luxury. Mega not up for another 5 seconds, and nosfa might be looking to make a play on it. Ultimately, he's going to decide against it. Will give it up to Maxter, but still, Brazil 4 frags in the lead.
And I think nice rocket there. I think that was fine, right? He's got a few frags that he can work with here. Another orb coming out from Maxter, really trying to get in a position. So far, orb has not really done much here for Maxter at all. In fact, I would say it's put him in kind of some worse situations than he would prefer. But he's full stack once again. If there was an opportunity, now is the time. Still 6 minutes left on the clock, so plenty to go. He's going to try to hold down just after picking up that mega. And I'd love to see him just wait up. Nice little trap. Some LG coming out. He misses that rail around the side, and he's going to have to go back to the drawing board on this one. But does set himself up nicely here for a potential to grab that heavy. He misses both of those rails while nosfa hits his. And he does maintain control of that major item, but he's just not really been able to connect with damage, Flea.
So far, indeed, he has not. nosfa, 700 damage more than his opponent at this point. It's actually Maxter who is controlling the items, significantly so. 6 majors for nosfa versus 13 for Maxter. Maxter even has more light armors as well, but it's just the damage output. nosfa, it's really been keeping him at bay. A lot of good rails, the rockets as well.
And I like what he's doing here. I mean, I got to give Maxter some credit, right? Like, those first 3 frags, that'll put any great player on a full tilt there. Nice work there, as he is going to pick up his 3rd frag, and suddenly this is a 2-point game. So he kept his cool. He's brought it back, but peaker is the real rage here, as another frag picked up by nosfa with, again, just using it at a great time. You know, there's not much that Maxter could do, and he really didn't have the right weapons to deal with it. So we're past the 5-minute mark, halfway through. Like what Maxter's doing to not just let this game run away from him, but nosfa's not going to make it easy.
Indeed, he is not. Now nosfa. Oh, kind of getting caught by surprise there. Maxter definitely pushing in aggressively. Good rockets from Maxter to clean up that frag, but nevertheless, nosfa did a fair bit of damage. I don't know if Maxter can just push in on the Mega. Good rocket to take down the Peeker, but here we go. Yep, nosfa did enough in that previous engagement to stay in the fight and to block Maxter off. Oh, I don't know about that one, Weed.
Oh, no. That was, I felt like, Maxter is really setting himself up for potentially the second half of this game, but then suddenly, and now Maxter might bring this one back. All right, it does kind of play in his favor. He's back to that 3 frags, but the orbs have been incredibly aggro, and it just have not been doing what he needs to do. Maybe, sometimes you got to take a risk, and sometimes they don't look so pretty if they don't work out. But Ike's, we get another Tri-Bolt coming out there, and 5-9. So Maxter doing a great job trying to hold on, but nosfa still kind of inches a little bit further ahead. Another great peeker placement. Oh!
Yeah. These peeker plays, Weed.
Yeah.
Damn.
Really good.
I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I don't know if you caught the Chron game where, the peeker just really wasn't working for him. It was often putting him in trouble, and he got very little utility out of it. But nosfa, this is the complete opposite. This is just absolute sheer efficiency. Every single time he uses his ability, it feels like he's getting a lot of value out of it.
And on the flip side, as we'd mentioned a couple times, hold on, we got a nice couple rockets, but once again, Peeker, as he's rocketed off to the side, he still manages to pick it up. Another orb's going to go out, a quick turnaround, just see, did he actually take it? But yeah, the orb has not yielded any frags, right? For Maxter, right? I think it's yielded at least 2 or 3 frags for nosfa, but that's not exactly right how it is supposed to work. So, nosfa kept his cool here, has definitely hit his rails. I mean, no one's hitting anything that's going to earn him necessarily Hall of Fame status here rail-wise, as a 26% on Maxter's side and only 48 on nosfa. But nosfa's hit the rails when they've mattered the most. Peeker going to come out yet again, and Peeker's just been doing a ton of damage. So this first game is most certainly going to be going to nosfa and Maxter. I like that he hung on as much as he could, but maybe I think it was like frag 7 or 8 where the kind of just the orb out of nowhere right off the spawn. I maybe would advise against that. But yeah.
Indeed, I also feel like the moment he went for that, yeah, so risky. The odds were not in his favor there. Maxter still pushing. Now he shows restraint on the orb. 50 seconds left, it's all over, and then he doesn't push with the orb. I feel like that's the wrong decision, or maybe it was the right decision, but the one he should have been making earlier. And indeed, nosfa, man, is looking solid, and you love to see it. I feel like there's been a lot of players, a lot of viewers who've been watching nosfa for, the entirety of the Quake Pro League now, basically. Coming close to excellent, but not always being able to live up to those high expectations that people have had of him. And this is a great step in the right direction.
Yep. I would even go so far as to say, as we're about to hit the clock here, but I'd go so far as to say that nosfa looked like he was warming up during that game. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Like, the way he was playing at the end felt really solid, even compared to the beginning. I think the beginning threw us all off. It was a little bit of chaos. It happens every once in a while. Right off the spawns, 2 players meet up within 10 seconds, and that did not go Maxter's way. But as nosfa got more and more comfortable, is hitting those nice combos. At the end there, we had a rail peeker combo like that. And Peeker was MVP here. Controlled by nosfa. He's got, he's got a career as a drone operator in the future. I don't know, but it was pretty nice, and that is going to be a very clean win for nosfa there.
Couldn't agree more. Well-deserved victory for Brazil on map 1. I'm hoping we get to see... we don't get to see the first frag. That's the one that I was looking forward to the most. Just wanted to see how that turned out from nosfa's perspective. But we still plenty more left to come. 2 more maps to go. Next one will be Molten Falls, and that is going to be a very different story. Much larger map with 2 light champions, 2 fast champions spawn without armor, very squishy, very vulnerable, but damn, can they move?
Yeah, and how is that going to play into things? And you know, also I think it's just going to be really important to see who's kind of on the aggressive. But I think you kind of even mentioned that sometimes these games can be slower than you'd expect. So we'll just have to see where they're coming. I mean, still predictions are pretty close. So people keeping their faith in their players that they were going after, and you know, this is another opportunity for Maxter to try to bring this around. nosfa sitting on kind of a match point. Obviously, week after week we play all 3 games, but it was a really strong start, and we'll have to see where it goes after this.
Yeah, even despite Maxter favoring, the items and doing better in terms of items control, it was still nosfa who reigned supreme. His aim, use of the ability, everything was just so on point. Now on this map, Molten Falls, Anarchy's ability is still plenty impactful, but probably won't be determining as many fights in the same way as that Peeker did, right? So I feel like the injection isn't going to be as critical as that little robot was on map 1. On the other hand, you've got the Slash, Plasma Trail. It's useful, right? Sometimes a little bit of AoE damage, shut out a hallway or a teleporter, get somewhere extra fast, but even there, again, less instrumental than Ranger's Orb. So this is going to be even more about just the fundamentals.
Right.
Base movement, base aim, positioning, timing, with less of an ability focus.
Yeah, and I mean, with Trail, like, you get a really limited zoning effect, I think, which can be, there's some spots on Molten where that can be really helpful. There's also a ton of spots on Molten where, like, that it doesn't matter, like, it's not going to make a difference. So I do think that if, the way nosfa's been playing, definitely Inject kind of gives him a little bit of maybe edge here overall, but I agree with you 100%. Like, this is going to come down to, like, kind of the fundamentals, how they're controlling the map, how they're setting up during our major items. Clearly too, I just think are people hitting their shots. And that goes kind of back to what I was saying at the conclusion of map number 1, in that nosfa looked really warmed up at the end of that match, right? So I think going into this one, Maxter needs to kind of bring himself up to where nosfa's at aim-wise to really be keeping up with it.
Now, looking at the predictions in chat, people are favoring nosfa more than they were the last time, but it's still relatively close. 440,000 versus 570k on nosfa. So still, chat, not entirely in the Brazilian camp. They are still fearful of what Maxter might do, or they're confident in their Argentinian star.
Yeah, and for those that switched over, welcome to the Fairweather fan club. Like, it's nice to have you here. So, we'll have to see how that one's going to play out. Very, very close, actually. And again, I respect all those that are like, I'm going to double down on my Maxter prediction. So, it could be rough for this one, but we're getting out of lobby and we're popping into the game now. nosfa on Anarchy, Maxter on Slash. Are we going to have a quick fire, super agile, fast match, or are things going to slow down a little bit? We see the speed come out in bursts, but this be more of a big brain match. We're going to find out here in just moments.
Yeah, we are indeed loading into the second map of this series, and yeah, what you said, Weed, is entirely true. I think it's also very difficult to predict because these matches are so fundamentally different from one another. 2 medium champions on Awoken says absolutely nothing about how 2 fast champions, 2 lights on a map like Molten is going to go down. So I feel like we're gonna see a lot in those opening minutes or 2 and see exactly how the players are going to be approaching it, as they are indeed readying up We're all loaded up, ready to go. Don't know whose perspective we will be starting on, but we are jumping into the game right now. Good luck, have fun has been called, and let's see.
Surprise us. It's going to be nosfa right off the bat. And he's going to get the Mega Spawn, grab himself an LG, and goes back on over to the Mega, but actually is going to delay it a little bit and try to get some information here off of the start. Has an idea on where maybe Maxter is, but still no pickup on that Mega, and that makes a ton of sense. Ooh, nice rail coming out from Maxter. All right. All right, I'm liking what we're seeing here. 30 seconds in, we're just seeing some picks, some pot shots. Rocket's coming out now, and nosfa would like to get his hands on the rail. He does, so this gets interesting from this point.
Rails being exchanged. Maxter struggling the most. There we go. That one will at least equalize the stacks somewhat. Now Heavy and Mega are already significantly offset right now. Heavy up in 5 seconds. Can Maxter hold his ground? Misses the rail. Yeah, that was a costly miss. nosfa should be able to walk away with it. Maxter 1 point of health. Does escape. But how long can he hold on to this? Rails like that.
Does Maxter have any idea what Mega is? Actually, I'm surprised nosfa didn't push that a little bit, especially after that rail. Oh, he is going to push it, and the LG comes out. The Mega's picked up, and a slide into the wall, and now nosfa in the danger zone. Both players disengaging there with almost equal health. nosfa's going to head back on over, and I feel like nosfa had sort of a control advantage, big tri-bolt to the face, and that is gone now, right? I don't think Maxter knew when Mega was up. nosfa had just picked up the Heavy and could be first frag right here. 3 HP left, and Maxter does clean it up. Shotgun for frag number 1. Nicely done. Oh.
And another. There we go. Super shotgun. That's kind of Anarchy's Achilles heel. Oh, 90 damage into the rocket. Maxter. There we go. That's exactly the kind of style that we're hoping to see out of this man. Now 3 frags up. And look at both of them just racing around the map. So fast, so speedy. LG on LG. Ooh, that's a little sketch right there. Wow. Maxter definitely had the stack advantage, but his aim fell short. Wait, that should have been in the bag for him.
It really should have, and this could be bad as he goes on over to the Mega. Mega is picked up by nosfa, and nosfa gets the frag. I mean, we almost had a reverse beginning here in game number 2. With Maxter going up by 3, but nosfa staying in control. I really like what he did, bringing it back. I'm not sure should have gone after that Mega, but nosfa now, he's hurting bad. And oh my gosh, for Maxter with a great rail there, make it 4-2. That's exactly what he needed in that situation. He needed to stop that momentum coming out there from nosfa, and he's going to get the Mega off there, have the opportunity to make his way over to the Heavy as well. This is a really big moment here for Maxter.
Sure is. Maxter now, huge stack advantage. Dropping down, ballsy. But well played. Maxter, very careful about the angle he picked. Didn't drop down straight on nosfa, but made it very uncomfortable and awkward for his opponent to get a good read on him right there. nosfa pushing on through. Good rockets. That first one bounced him up, held him in place. But it will be nosfa who gets the better spawn. Yeah, Maxter realizes that Mega has been taken.
Yeah, that was actually a super important rocket from Maxter after he got bounced off. I think he knew, like, I'm gonna die, but getting that last rocket off allowed him to get that from the grave and trade a little bit there. So, you know, nosfa now 3 frags down, but is sitting with a decent stack. And you know, I'm not surprised that Maxter did that drop down from the top. You know, I think he knew he had a clear control board and used it quite nicely. So nosfa's going to pass up that Heavy. Thinks he has an idea where his opponent is up top. Doesn't see him there. He's going to know he's over at the Mega. There's a nice rail. Can he follow up with another one? He's following the trail. It takes a little bit of damage, and oh my God! He makes it work, and Maxter, although limping away Flea still manages to get the frag, and that did, oh man.
Oh.
Wow.
I like how you started off the series by saying, yeah, well, you know, the plasma trail, it really isn't all that good. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage usually.
I mean,
and then, bam!
nosfa looked at that plasma trail and treated it like it was a red carpet, like he was walking down, going to the awards show. And that's, you know, that I don't expect players to just run into it on the chase, but that's exactly what he did.
Now Heavy's about to spawn, 5 seconds. nosfa is in position. Maxter, no way he can drop on this. Nice little rail on the exit though. That's gonna burn most of that armor that was just secured by nosfa. And now both players trying to get themselves in the best position for Mega. nosfa was hoping to maybe catch sight of Maxter. But Maxter is just gonna completely disappear to the other side of the map. Doesn't even stick around to try and get, you know, sort of a vague indication of the timing. He's just gonna leave it for his opponent altogether.
Yeah, he definitely. All right, well, he got that Heavy, so he's got a good grasp there. There's a nice little separation between our two majors. How is he gonna play this one out? Maxter gonna stay in that doorway, which means that Mega will be back up for grabs. nosfa's gonna have to turn around and grab. Oh. Or not. And nosfa's going to now make his way over to the Heavy. There's definitely going to be a battle here. Maxter with just a little bit more armor. As the pot shots come out, there's a beautiful direct rocket. Is the chase going to happen? It is. A nice rocket to bring it back 8-5. And this is getting a little scary, Flea, because, you know, nosfa still has the time to bring it back. A big frag here. That could be real big. 2-frag game now. A little bit of momentum. About 3 minutes remaining. Maxter still in the lead, but exactly where nosfa wants to be to try to tie this game back up.
Railgun is going to be very important for nosfa to make this combat happen. Unless Maxter is going to continue just challenging him at every turn, which might work out for him. Both players low, neither connects with the kill shot. Maxter is taking a lot of risks, Wheat. With a 2-frag lead, still 2.5 minutes left to go. Some people would expect him to be a lot more passive, a more defensive game, but he is just going at it regardless of scoreline.
Yeah, and you know, maybe he just feels like he needs to stay there. He's going to set up top, set up a trap. nosfa now just going to rocket out of that spot. LG out, and nosfa's missed some pretty big rail opportunities here. It's unfortunate in the last couple minutes because that could change a lot. But now we're getting down. He needs at least a frag a minute here as we hit the 2-minute point. Trade of rails. Maxter gets the best one, a second one. And Maxter did indeed get that aim all warmed up to where he needed it to be because those rails are pretty much saving his life right now. Great rocket, but the rail cannot connect. Maxter with another one, 9-4, and he wants to secure victory in this game.
Just about to comment on the same thing, Wheat. nosfa's rail accuracy, 19%. He needs to be hitting more to make a comeback happen. 90 seconds for 3 kills, not impossible, extremely difficult against the Slash. He needs to start landing those rails. There we go, he lands one. That was close though. One more tickle of LG before that shot, and it would have been nosfa's frag. But Maxter now escapes. He's got the Mega to fall back on. Should be able to secure this. Oh! Critical time to run out of ammo. Wheat, click goes the LG.
Yeah, but now the question is can he... Oh my God, I was going to say, can he pick up 3? And look at this, the speed coming into play as he's got an idea where his opponent is and is just going to go for the full-on chase here. This is Maxter's game to lose. He's up by 2. He's got the speed as well. He's going to drop down onto that Heavy LG battle. Oh my God, that rail. Are you kidding me? From the front pocket, he manages to hit it, and nosfa has an opportunity here, but Mega's up. It is picked up. Huge rail damage, but both players suffering badly. They're very, very close to even. nosfa, he will take the risk to try to get this frag, even if it means bringing it back to even. Oh, Oh, he just stood behind the side. 15 seconds remaining. nosfa doesn't know where he's at. He's going to give up the couple of seconds to grab the heavy. He's indecisive, goes back, and Maxter will pull this one out. But oh my gosh, to the final second. 10-9. What? That was
That's
pretty
frustrating.
wild there at the end.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating for nosfa. He came close, so close within the end. I think he's going to regret not switching to rail a second sooner in that final engagement, right? When he was bouncing his opponent Maxter up on the bounce pad with LG, but have switched to rail earlier and finished it off. But nope, hang on to the LG just a little too long and allowed Maxter to escape. On the other hand, Maxter, I felt, played a very risky game, Wheat. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure, but I think, we've seen this with Maxter before. He's kind of like, he's ice cold when he plays. He's got this great posture. Like, there's not a whole lot that can kind of throw him off that we've seen historically. I really think Maxter probably got in the spot where he's like, I can feel the momentum. I've just got to keep going, right? And there are times where sometimes you choose to kind of turtle it up a little bit, play safer, and that ends up working against you, right? And hindsight's 2020. We only know the outcome that happened in our universe, but I have to give him credit for kind of sticking to his guns on all of that. There were definitely some very, very close moments there. That last one being that LG up the jump pad. And it's always weird when you're LGing an opponent on top of a mega. Like, we've seen this for so many Quake iterations. It's just a harder fight to kind of think about in your head. And I could see it. Like, I don't blame nosfa for thinking, I've got this. Like, what, one more tick of the LG and he's going to be down. But you are absolutely right. He did so much damage. If he would have been able to hit that rail at the end, that might have been a tables turn there for nosfa to bring it back. So that was such a phenomenal game, though, with those 3 frags at the beginning, and then nosfa's bringing it back. And I really like how Maxter played. I think if nosfa goes back and is watching this, I think the biggest mistake I saw that whole match is that battle over by Mega, where nosfa did just chase down Maxter, didn't respect the trail, and that was a big table turner, I think, for Maxter.
Yeah, definitely inclined to agree. Close match in the end. Maxter stands his ground, and that means that we were definitely right in saying that it was going to be a close one, right? No one said 3-0. We either said 2-1 nosfa, 2-1 Maxter. That's exactly what we're getting. First time of the day that is actually going to come down to the tiebreaker. The final map, Ruins of Sarnet, is going to decide it all. nosfa will be running Galena, and Maxter will be playing the BJ. Wheat, what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I think if we're just running the simulations, I think there's probably more outcomes where the Galena is a little more useful here on Ruins. But you and I both know there's so many variables that come into play there. How well Maxter is clearing out totems comes down to initial spawns. It comes down to the control of the major items. So I still am holding on to my 2-1 nosfa, but there, alternatively, we've made some comments about abilities on our champions here, and there could be many situations depending how nosfa plays where dual wield for Maxter could come in real nicely. And if he's feeling himself now, then this might be the map to do it. But out of the 100-game simulation that we run, using our advanced Quake Champions AI technology, I still got to feel like Galena has a little bit of an edge.
I'm inclined to agree. Yeah, I think BJ can work. There's definitely parts of the map where if you can get into position first and then use the ability before a fight unleashes, right? Down at heavy, for example, if you're first on heavy or you're first on mega, it can be so powerful. Laying down twice rocket spam to deny entry, having double the LG ready to go. It can absolutely work, but generally speaking, I do agree that Galena is just going to have a slightly easier time, especially if she can get away with hiding some of those totems around the map and getting that overstack going, right? We've seen several times, even today, how effective that strategy can be.
Yeah. And it's, you know, sometimes that comes down to a player's totem placement, right? Like one nice
True.
thing about totem placement on Ruins is that there's a few areas that are not necessarily in your standard rotation, right? You think about LG room, like back by there's a lot of like little hidey holes and little corners. So there's a little bit more work that Maxter has to do on his side, and that's true for anyone up against Galena, I think, on Ruins, right? It's just how you're thinking about that, handling that as well. But we've also seen plenty of games where Galena has not been able to keep those totems up, and then it just comes down to that raw skill where, again, as you mentioned, Maxter could really come in. So the back and forth clearly, I think this could go either way, but I'm glad that we're having a Game 3 decider.
Yeah, me too. First one of the day, and it's always exciting, right? Especially between these two players, right? Both are the only ones hailing from South America. Both are former teammates. They know each other very well, have played plenty of matches together alongside each other in 2v2, but also against one another in duels. So that always makes for some exciting finales, especially if it comes down to the final one. And with that being said, both players have readied up. We're loading in, or we're done loading in, and we're jumping in to the key decider of this series. We've got nosfa, we've got Maxter, and we're starting off on nosfa's point of view.
Yeah, we are. And it's going to have LG versus the dual machine gun. That is not going to work out too well there for Maxter, and nosfa is going to get... He also dropped that totem right off of the spawn, so was able to use that to kind of get back, and that just throws him into the fight a little bit better. But as you see there, Maxter with that rail has to force nosfa back a little bit in terms of what his options are and what he's going to be able to do. I know that he is eagerly wanting to get his hands here on a rail, does manage to get one, but has to give up the heavy in order for that to happen. So 1 minute in, nosfa did get that initial frag. He's going to throw down some additional totems and just get ready here for the mega. And here we go.
Also, shout out to nosfa for that LG at the start. He was hitting 57% LG. That initial engagement. Oh, nosfa falls down, lands on a little ledge over the door. Not quite intentional, perhaps, but now Maxter returns in kind. 50% LG of his own, and this has now unleashed into an absolute brawl. Just like we were saying earlier, sometimes the fastest champions have the slowest games that we saw on the previous map for quite a while, and now 4 frags in a minute 30.
Yeah, I nice double rocket there by Maxter. You know, I really just think he should have immediately disengaged when that dual wheel popped, right? That was just not a good fight to take at all. Potentially could have tried to run and juke down below into the heavy room, but yeah, I feel like that was not necessarily well played. But 2 minutes in, and it's only a 1 frag game, like the scoreline did at least get a little bit closer there for nosfa, but I think that he would have just been so much better having not even attempted that match at all. And there,
Wow.
I don't know what you do in that point, but that was really well read and well played by Maxter right there. He forced his opponent into what Maxter's done is he has found 2 scenarios where his opponent has chosen to fight him with a dual wield LG versus LG, and guess what? Like, spoiler alert, that's always going to win, on BJ's side.
I mean, and not just that, Maxter hitting 54% LG of his own so far. So yeah, especially with the dual wield, that is going to be particularly devastating. This is good from nosfa though. His rail on the previous map was very much lacking, but this time around he's hitting 66% rail. It's gonna come down to the close combat fight. Messy is how I would describe that one, Wheat.
Yeah, that was a pretty actually good pick up there for nosfa, because those last 2 were that was messy. And bringing that 1 frag back is huge actually in terms of everything that's happened in the last 3 minutes. So He's going to protect this rail here a little bit, pick it up, but 2-frag game still in Maxter's favor. But nosfa's, he's definitely kind of turned on the aggression just a little bit here, and as such, right, like he's getting his totems down, but he's not really been able to fully utilize them in that situation. And this is where I think he needs to be careful, right? Another drop down, dual wield LG. Let's see if Maxter kind of sets himself up for another opportunity to try to melt and get a frag there.
Indeed. He has gotten some use out of those totems, has been able to use them to heal a few times, but I don't think he's really gotten the overstack going.
Yeah.
Most he's managed to accomplish was 2 totems, and Maxter has been very quick to take them down. And just look at those rails, 3 in a row. And those weren't easy shots, Wheat, especially those final 2. Maxter powering on through, Mega to his name, heavy in his back. Let's see, Mega's about to spawn again, and I don't think nosfa's in any position to contest this.
No, I mean, Maxter now is sitting real nice with some control. Wished he could have hit that rocket, but close enough. 97 damage rocket. His opponent's down below. He does have dual wield. He pulls it out on top of that heavy, and a little bit of damage there, but will end up getting it done. A couple misses, but the double rocket's right around the corner into the LG to finish it up, and then a conversion frag. That is a big yikes for me. Maxter, you know, Nasser should have known that he picked up that heavy, and it might even be another one here. And there is, with the Mega, Maxter just running away with this one right now. Oh my God, somebody call the police, please. This is an assault. Wow.
Indeed, it is 7 points of a lead for Maxter already. Now, nosfa does have the greater stack, but okay. Yeah, that's what happens when Stack Advantage finds himself in a bad corner of the map up against the dual rockets. Nothing nosfa could have done about that one anymore. Maxter so proactive using that ability, so prepared. Good rocket on the drop down too. And nosfa will drop yet another kill.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's 4 minutes left, right? I'm thinking Maxter's probably got this one, but let's just play a hypothetical game where that is in fact true, 100%. We mentioned earlier that this could be a really big turning point for Maxter in sort of this season, and it is, right? He's going to be 4-4 with a victory here, and you know, needs to bring it back. He still has his fair share of, I think, very difficult opponents ahead of him, but this is going to be a big victory for him, and kind of brings nosfa down just a little bit. Maxter will get a rank bump as a result of this, but you know, really, I think it's shown again. One of the things that I kind of just love about Maxter is that despite a loss in that game 1, despite that weird chaotic opening that we saw on Awoken, he has played such a solid series, and to see where this game is ending in game 3, it's kind of nuts. Like, this is a really awesome performance here by Maxter. So, you know, congratulations to him. This is going to be a big win this season.
Indeed, it is. So even though we talked about it at the start, right? nosfa has won 4 out of 5 engagements between the two. This will make Maxter the victor of the 2 most recent ones. So well played, Maxter. nosfa, he was shining brightly on map 1. Map 2, I feel like his rail failed him a bit. And map 3, I mean, Maxter hitting 51% LG with the dual wield on top. It was just too much for nosfa, maybe even for anyone to handle.
And a nice rail just to add more injury to the pain, as nosfa will manage to pick one up here, but with 2 minutes remaining, an 11 frag run would be pretty much impossible at this point. I think we can just say that. So, but very interesting series, and I mean, I kind of wonder how nosfa's got to be feeling about that one. You know, especially when you also consider, you go back and you replay the entire match in your brain, respectfully, and that game too was real close, right? So even after a pretty nice and decisive victory in game 1 on Awoken, that second game might be the haunting game because he was just so close. This one has just been completely run by Maxter. He is the landlord. This is his rental home, and he just is trying to evict nosfa from the map. Like it has been brutal. And I think it is partially how Maxter played, but I have to be honest, there were a couple of decisions there by nosfa that I don't agree with. And I think that first fight in the rail room, LG versus dual wield LG, just that was bad for the psyche.
It sure was. So congratulations, Maxter. He's had a bit of a rougher season than nosfa has so far, but this will be an important win. As you've already pointed out, both players still going at it with gusto. But at this point, it's over and done. It has been for quite a while now. Maxter, 17 frags. On a map like Ruins with 2 medium champions, that's an impressive scoreline. Not the kind of arena that you usually see someone approach near 20 kills.
Yeah, I completely agree. You do not see that too often. And we did have those couple of real fast turnarounds, but there is the GGs as cordially exchanged, but it is Maxter who comes out with an 18-6 victory in game number 3 on Ruins. That is going to bump him up to a 4-4 match record and likely increase his rank. Let's bring back Lethal to see what he thought. As I bow to you both, you were right and I was wrong. Maxter takes it in a convincing way.
I'm not gonna lie, I was siding a bit more towards you when I witnessed the first few frags in that first map. I was like, oh my god, I've just made the worst decision of my life. I definitely did. I was like, yeah, this is not happening. What? And I saw Maxter laughing after the second and third frag. I was like, how dare you? I predicted you to win. What are you doing? But you know what? It's fine. He came out trumps with those 2 back-to-back map victories, map 2 and 3. And yeah, that was incredible. The second map was obviously the one to watch really in terms of the entertainment factor. It was just so close. I wasn't expecting nosfa to almost bring it back from that. It was just ridiculous, but this is what we expected, wasn't it? You know, very fast-paced action and a lot of using your initiative and your initial strategic aggression. It was great stuff on both players.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely was. Not much to add to that. What about you?
No, I mean, again, I think it goes back to that Molten game. 1 frag, that was, each player, they got, nosfa takes that first game and Maxter takes that third game, but that second game, like, we can go back and just reviewing it in my head. There are so many ways where I can see, nosfa pulls out the extra frag or Maxter, pulls out. So I think that one is going to be the one that really kind of hurts nosfa a bit when he goes back and reviews it. But that was such an interesting game that I'm still happy it ended up the way it did. I would have loved to seen that one go to overtime. I think it would have made an even more climactic third game. But congratulations to Maxter, man. I'm excited to see him play the way he did today.
Yeah, you could see from nosfa's webcam, like literally on that second map at the end. And Seafleet, I did actually look at the cams for once. I wasn't actually in game. I saw their faces. It's fine. I saw their reactions, and yeah, literally, nosfa. He was a bit beat up about it because he knew that very little mistakes could have actually won him that series and put him on a bigger pedestal, so to speak, because he was 5-2, could have gone 6-2, but he's gonna be sitting at 5-3, but still in a pretty spot at the moment. As long as he secures at least minimum top 8 to go and skip it to day 2, then that should be fine. If not, then of course it's just one of those things. But in the end, Maxter does take it. We should have an interview hopefully shortly with Maxter to ask him a few questions on how he's been, how he's doing, and how that series gone, and just how he's going on the Pro League as well, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions to be asked. It's been very back and forth for him this season.
It has, yeah. I mean, this is his fourth win, so now he's tied in terms of wins and losses. 4 wins, 4 losses, but it has indeed been a pretty rough road. He's beaten the likes of Toxic and Chain, then lost to Dramas, I think was his most recent one, so indeed, far from easy goings for Maxter.
Yep. And hopefully we'll get a chance to kind of ask him how he's feeling about that and even where he is at this point in the league, right? Still many weeks to go. But right, I recall also coming off the finals of last season, Maxter kind of really wanting to find another level up and potentially bring it in. But he's kind of sitting right in the middle there, and for some that might be totally fine. I have a feeling that maybe Maxter's not going to be super happy where he's at, but I'll be looking forward to asking him.
Yeah, so I'm sure we've got plenty to ask him, of course. And yeah, you are right, though. He didn't have the best of starts, but it seems to be the same kind of story, isn't it? Where, the top 2 or 3 players he seems to struggle with quite a lot from time to time. But in terms of the rest of the pack, he seems to be fine. He's in that kind of purgatory kind of position at the moment where you just need to find what fits right, what fits the bill in order to topple some of these juggernauts in the top 3. And don't get me wrong, he played third at the last QuakeCon. There's no reason why he can't do it again. But you could see the difference and the weaknesses clear as day as to what needed to be done. And now he's going to obviously ask himself, after a little bit of a shaky start, what he can do now in order to not only get the best seed possible going into the next Quake World Championships, but of course what needs to be done in order to win the entire thing. Because I think a lot of us here, a lot of people at home as well, probably make the assumption that, he's more than capable of being able to. He's obviously won that community event back in October before with the likes of raising so many top dogs out there. So there should be actually no reason for him to have the potential to do that. But we do have Maxter on board, so we're going to see exactly what his thoughts are going to be. And we've got plenty of questions for you, Maxter. Plenty. Congratulations on taking down nosfa in the end, Maxter. I'm glad you got my prediction right, mate. And first question is going to be from me, is the fact that we've seen this season, you've had, some great moments, some, average moments here and there, and it's been quite up and down for you this season, but you're tied 4 apiece at the moment. How do you feel like you're performing at the moment in this current state compared to how you was at the start of the season?
First of all, hi guys. It's been a while since I talked to you. Answering to your question, unfortunately, due to things that are happening in my life right now, I'm not able to put the best of my performance right now. So I had to just try to be consistent with what I can, with the time I can. And I decided to just start practicing more often towards finals. So since now we are in the second half of the season, I should start having a better performance overall. Like I have really tough opponents coming in the next half of the season, and I will be preparing myself towards the finals. So that will mean that those matches will be like tests for me.
Okay, well, Maxter, first of all, congratulations again. I'm just gonna ask you a very simple, straightforward question about map 1. What happened? How did it go so wrong? In your eyes, how did it end up that way?
What happened is that I knew, due to the context that we are playing in between nosfa and I, because I'm living in Spain and he's in Brazil, we have to deal with some pink things. And I already knew that some of these things were going to happen, but I wasn't that ready for those kind of things. So I started to laugh so hard, and I lost the focus in the first couple of minutes, and that cost me a lot. And I was like, okay, I just took the last 3 or 4 minutes to just feel a little bit more the game, because nosfa was hitting all the shots he needed. Like I just saw the scoreboard at the end of the match, and I had plenty of more items, but the damage was on his side. So I just focused a little bit more, try to feel a little bit more the game. And then towards the second map, I felt like it was better. Beyond the fact that I got a lead and I played a little bit risky, I would say, but due to the context that we were playing, sometimes you need to do some risky moves in order to get a frag. But in the end, I think the refocus that I did after map 1 was the key to actually win the set, because I think the set was decided on map 2.
Okay.
Dang. Maxter, you answered like 5 questions in 1 question. That was awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, I should ask about. Oh, he just answered. Oh, I should ask about this. What I want to actually, it makes me think back to what we were saying during the matchup, right? Which is we were all complimenting you on, you're I think a Quake player who has a superpower of composure, right? Like even in that moment, that first couple of matches, you kind of smile, you shook it off, and then you went back to play your game, right? So that's always really impressive. What I'm curious about is that's clearly not enough to win games, right? Even though that might win some games in the future, but just that alone. So you mentioned that you needed to just be practicing more. At that point, is it right? Like, what aspects do you feel like you need to improve, considering that you are the best in terms of composure here, or one of the best in the league? So what are the areas that you feel like that training is going to contribute to that will, put you in a good spot going to the finals?
Well, that's a really good question, and really deep, because I think that towards finals, I remember how my preparation was toward last QuakeCon. And I think that, well, Lethal is the one that knows about this, that I used to have problems with my ammo. Actually, my ammo managing was a thing. Now I am missing the light armors, for example. That's just a focusing thing. Like, I need to start playing a little bit more around the items, because the aim eventually will come back like it does on LAN. But online, beyond the fact that there are a ton of things moving, essentially, you will not win just because of the aim. So I will be practicing towards my fundamentals. Beyond the fact that I don't think that those are really weak, but once you are in the finals and you face players like Rafa or Wenger, you know that those little details, we take frags or maps for the opponent. So that's the key that I'm going to be looking for in my practice towards QuakeCon.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
know you're going to be fresh and ready for QuakeCon. I know you will, mate. I know you'll be secretly training during your work hours. Don't you worry about that. But congratulations once again, defeating nosfa 2-1. It was an incredible series, and we hopefully look forward to seeing you for another interview in the future, mate.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for the interview. And let me give a big shout out to the Spanish community, because they are celebrating a LAN party right now that I actually was yesterday. And I came here to play, and I will rejoin them. It's really nice to see the community all together playing Quake Champions or any other versions of Quake. Like, well, you Lethal came here to KingCon, and you feel the atmosphere, and it's really nice to be around people that they love Quake and they support you while you're playing competitively.
Funny enough, I was actually where you were yesterday, so if I stayed for another 12 hours, I probably could have said hello, but it's too late now. I literally just came up from Barcelona yesterday morning. But again, thank you very much, Maxter, for that win. And enjoy, you and the gang, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
All right, guys, see you.
GG, man.
Always love interviewing him. We always get a nice smile on our faces and always full of positivity. Even during that first or second frag, he was still laughing it off, although it was just a casual scrim. But that's the second to last match all done and dusted. We know you guys in chat have been dying, begging for us to bring this match forward. And we have done it. It's going to be the Rafa versus Kilson matchup coming after the break. So stay tuned, as we'll see you in about 5 minutes.